Jazz molecules?
Yeah, we're jazz molecules.
What would a hip-hop molecule look like? My intention with the Dance of the Molecules has to do with a concept that is rather abstract for this age group to grasp readily. And I've found that by giving them this dance to do, it helps them understand this concept. Today we're going to be working on the molecule dance. And we have talked about the particle theory before, so we're going to be acting it out today, using dance to be molecules. When I first developed this, I was thinking purely as a science concept and helping students to understand an abstract idea. I want you to keep in mind these three things: body, space, and energy. All three are really important from a scientific point of view, and they're also important from a dance point of view. With the body, how are the torso, head, arms, and legs used to suggest molecules in the different phases? Space. In any substance made up of molecules, the molecules exist at all kinds of levels, not just all at one level. Now, you should have an idea of what changes the spacing around molecules already, but we'll see as we go through the dance. Energy. At what times was there a suggestion of force? The students have to develop a perspective. To be a molecule, they have to imagine being this molecule. To start with, I need a volunteer who would like to be the first molecule.
I wanted to be a molecule partially because I'm like a lot of people in my class. I like being visual and doing it, and acting it out sort of helps me understand the particle theory and how everything sort of works.
So I need you to strike a pose, but I also need a water molecule. Now, do you remember what a water molecule is made up of?
2 hydrogen and an oxygen.
Okay. Now, can you suggest 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen with your body? And where are the hydrogen?
My arms.
Your arms are the hydrogen, and your body and legs would be the oxygen. Okay. And is that your pose?
Yeah.
Can you hold that? I need another molecule. Now, the James water molecule here has created a space, and you need to interact with that space, because molecules, when they're in a solid, they're very close together, and they bond, but they need to work around each other, okay? So see if you can fill the space. Excellent. We're going to have you start to vibrate a little bit to start with. You have to watch really carefully what he's doing so that you don't touch, because you have to keep a little bit of space between you, and you can start vibrating too. It's pretty rare that we have just 2 molecules together, so maybe we could have a few more molecules come up here. So look for a space. So here we have molecules in a solid form. Could you freeze for a moment, please? The molecules are still moving, but they're in a solid form, like your desk or your chair or the floor. How is it that they're still moving?
Like a puzzle kind of put together, and then it's kind of like shaking around a bit, but it's still holding its form.
If they're shaking a little bit, what does that tell you about their level of energy?
Energy is really low.
They're not moving very much, so the energy must be low. Is it possible for molecules to not be moving at all?
If they're dead, they're probably not moving.
So are molecules things that are alive? Like the molecules in this desk are alive?
I didn't know that when water molecules were in a solid state, I didn't know that they did vibrate a little bit.
A little bit more energy, James. Okay, and freeze. How did the movement change for these molecules,
They got farther apart as they moved.
which is exactly what molecules do when they move from being in a solid state and they move into being a liquid. So we're having a change of phase here from a solid to a liquid. The one thing we haven't seen yet, perhaps, is that fluidity that I talked about earlier. See if that happens as the molecules begin to interact a little differently. A little bit more energy, James. Okay, stop. What phase of matter are they in right now?
Maybe they're liquid
Why do you think a liquid?
because they're moving more.
They are moving more. Is there anything else that they're doing that tells you they must still be in a liquid form? They're moved apart a little bit, and they're still moving around each other. They're still fairly close. That's because in a liquid form, the molecules are still bonded to each other. Okay, James, a little more energy, please. More energy. Stop. It's starting to happen. Look at the molecules. What's happened to their spacing?
They all have more room.
They all have more room. So they were moving pretty quickly, but they're still close together, so they must still be a liquid. These two have broken free. They must be a gas now. And using the dance has worked really well, and I find that all of my students, including students who are on IEPs and special programs, they can grasp that concept when I take them through the dance.
A solid at first.
It kind of helped me with doing the dance because you actually got to act it out so you knew what you were doing and what it was about.
Assessment for Dance of the Molecules. Really, it's a follow-up right after they've had the opportunity to be the molecule or to watch the molecule. I have them do a simple illustration of the molecules and how they are behaving in a solid, a liquid, and a gas. The first thing I'd like you to do is to draw the three phases of matter. Use the molecule dance to help you. And if it helps, you can even represent the molecules as little stick figures. And since we had 4 dancers, use 4 molecules. How does that look in a solid, a liquid, and a gas? As soon as I say dance, molecule dance, the light goes on again. They remember that. They may not remember the picture in the textbook, they may not remember the paragraphs that went along with the picture explaining the concept, but they remember the dance. The question I want you to answer is, it has 2 parts to it. Did this help you learn something about molecules and the way they behave? The second part is, what helped you more, watching it or doing the dance? We're going to be doing a 3-step interview. There is a person who is interviewed. So we're going to get to see an explorer or somebody connected to an explorer, and they will be interviewed by someone. That's the second person. And the third person is like a reporter, and the reporter will be taking jot notes, getting down the important information from the interview. Then we rotate so that each person in the group has the opportunity to play the historical person, historical figure, and also be the interviewer and the reporter. With the 3-step interview, I wanted to give them an opportunity to learn some information through drama.
I'm the wife of Christopher Columbus.
I'm Christopher Columbus's mother. And I'm Queen Isabella I.
I was really pleased with how thoroughly the students wanted to research. I actually extended the process because they became immersed in their research, not just through the textbooks, but they also were going online and finding information through the board's website, as well as as others, and it also gave me a chance to talk to them about what are trustworthy websites to get information from and what are websites you need to be careful with.
We were reporting live from Spain on April 6, 1503. Oh, here she comes now. Hello. Hi. What is your name?
My name is Suzanne Fortunarosa, mother of Christopher Columbus.
The Christopher's mother is sort of wearing all white because that's what we found pictures on.
In 1451, I gave birth to Christopher, the oldest of my 5 children. My other children are Bartholomew, Giovanni Pellegrino, Biancanetta, and Diego.
Do you agree with this theory of the world being spherical?
Yes, I do now, after his voyage.
Were you really proud of your son when you found out that he would be sailing to try and find, well, India?
Yes, I was proud, especially that the Queen took part and helped him. What is your name?
My name is Donna Philippa Moniz Perestrela, wife of Christopher Columbus.
Who supported Christopher with his theories and wishes to go sailing?
I, of course, supported Christopher, for he is my husband. His mother, Suzanne, also supported him, although at first she thought he was just imagining silly things.
How do you think Christopher's voyages changed what people thought of the shape of Earth?
I think that some people found that the world was spherical and not flat. What's your name?
My name is Queen Isabella I.
When did you take the throne?
I took the throne in 1474.
What do you think of the Indians Christopher brought back from Spain?
People were using the Indians as slaves. I do not agree at all. Once I saw that, I returned them back to the New World and set them free. I wanted all Indians to be treated fairly.
What made you decide to sponsor his voyage?
I thought it was a good idea, and I thought for Spain it would help out a lot to know that they had someone who founded the land.
Did you have updates on what was happening in the voyage?
Not really, because we didn't have anything to really communicate back then, so.
Didn't have any cell phones?
There are activities that help everybody. Some benefit more from it than others, but it helps all of my students. Through the creative process, through the opportunity to be creative, it helps them understand the information that they're exposed to, and it helps them remember that information.